Hello, Internet. Welcome to Book Theory. Today's topic is something a little chilling. And no, not cold or relaxing. I'm talking about iceberg chilling. This is not a science video, so we are talking in the sense of the iceberg theory, which was created by none other than Ernest Hemingway. That's right, this beautiful man right here. Or what A.E. Hotchner would call him, Papa Hemingway, the master of the iceberg theory. But before I tell you about his theory, let me give you some background history to this guy. Ernest Hemingway was an American novelist, short story writer, and journalist. Before he started to make stories, he got experience in reporting for the Kansas City Star newspaper company as a reporter. He then went to the Italian front as an ambulance driver during the First World War. After being an ambulance driver for a while, he got injured and had to return home. His experience in the war caused him to write his novel called A Farewell to Arms. After the war ended up, he ended up marrying 4 different women and being divorced 6 times. During his hardship time of love, he ended up going under the influence of modernist writers of the 1920s. Modernist writers are people who work in modernism, and modernism is, in Hemingway's case, a breakthrough in traditional writing. So with his writing, he didn't have traditional wording and certain things to say to make it traditional. He had his own voice, which means he had his own style in his writing. So with Hemingway's writing, he had a style where he would have the bare essentials and have a simplistic story. He did this so the stories would be open to interpretation for the readers. For example, in his short story Hills Like White Elephants, his characters, the man and the girl, speak in short sentences. He tries to avoid using he said, she said lines and tries not to use internal monologues. Another one of Hemingway's style of writing is called alienation, which characters in the story would have an emotional isolation or disassociation from others and objects. For example, in society, everyone has groups to go to, but there's one person who doesn't know where to go, so they feel isolated, which means they feel separated from the rest of everyone by themselves in the social norm of things. Another one of Hemingway's writing was based on zeitgeist, which means the spirit of a generation or a period of time. This was the basis of his novels of things going on around him that happened, like world wars he had experienced. For example, his novel A Farewell to Arms, like I said, was based in the mood of the period of time where he entered the First World War. And finally, one of the biggest things about Hemingway's writing style was his use of the iceberg theory. Now, the iceberg theory states that writing a story is like an iceberg. There's a top part that we can see and a bottom part we can't. In Hemingway's writing style, he likes for his readers to think outside the box, just so we can see a little bit at the bottom of the iceberg. I know this can be chilling to hear, but the more the writer strips away from the story, the bigger and deeper the bottom part gets. Think of it as when the author writes using imagery, it's the things we see at the top, but the more we dive into the story, you start to realize certain things and you start to create theories in your head, which is making inferences about what actually happened in the story. And inferences are pretty much an educated guess based on what you already know. So it gives you a little insight to the bottom portion of the iceberg. An example of this theory would be a video called Sumi. In this video, we see 2 different characters, a girl who admires her looks and another who looks a little nervous and kind of separated in a way from the other girl. The main girl who's into her looks get a little scared about the girls being there, watching her put her makeup on and not saying anything. She ends up leaving her seat while leaving her nail polish on the seat. The other girl is trying to be nice by picking up the nail polish and giving it back. But the girl who left the polish gets scared of the other girl running towards her to give her the polish, so she runs away trying not to get caught anywhere near to the other girl. Eventually, the other girl catches up and scares the main girl. The main girl is scared so much she pushes the other girl into oncoming traffic. As the train kills the girl, blood splashes onto the main girl's hand. Remember that it's important. Anyways, the main girl starts to realize what she did and just stands there shocked. The next scene shows the main character sleeping on a bed with a doll. And to sum up the majority of the rest of the video, she starts to freak out by seeing the fingers of the girl she pushed into the train. And finally, when she tries to leave the room, she's left looking at the girl who she pushed. Then they end up hugging each other and looking like they were friends. until the final scene where it shows the doll on the ground with its head cut off and we can see blood spread out looking like train tracks. Besides it being very weird and yet an interesting video, it has a lot to do with the iceberg theory. Because of very little dialogue, it's hard to know everything happened. So we start to question why this happened or why this certain thing is like it is. We start to create theories like I mentioned previously in the video. And if you want to create theories about this video, I'll leave a link in the description. But to break down this video for use of the iceberg theory, we will say that the top part of the iceberg represents the audio and visuals of this video that were given, as where the bottom portion of the iceberg is trying to figure out why it all happened, what the true meaning of the video is. And this video could represent so many things, it's hard to pinpoint a true origin. So with that being said, we went over a lot about Ernest Hemingway, and we talked about his past before eventually ending his life story, to talking about what makes his writing style so unique and unlike any other writer out there. And with that being said, that's just a theory. A book theory. Thanks for watching.